90 minutes. Oh hi, it's Martyn from Lux Resin here again. Welcome along to episode 3, where today we're going to be carving our epoxy resin channels into the wood of the electric guitar body. As you know, we're using a prefabricated body where all of the cavities have been pre-routed. Because me being a newbie, that might have been a step too far for my first build. So we're going to see how we get on with that and do it some serious abuse to make room for some epoxy resin, which we'll pour in a future episode. The wood I'm working with today is basswood, which is very light, very forgiving, easy on the tools, but it's also quite bright as a tone wood and quite resonant despite the fact that it's not very dense. Okay, let's go. Okay, here we go. Here's our basswood body. As you can see, it's been lightly sanded to 320 grit, so it's quite smooth to the touch at the moment. And now I'm going to mark out those areas that I'm going to carve. So firstly, we're going to carve a vein resin will come in here, staying away from these body cavities because we need them to be intact, but keeping an original piece of the wood on the other side, almost like an island. So realistically, we're going to want to come along here, get some nice curves into the cut that we've got. Bring that off there. Now we said we're going to preserve that piece, but that does mean that we're going to have to cut all the way through. When I say all the way through, I mean it won't be attached. So you can see this is the area that we are removing. That's the area that we're filling in with resin. Similarly, we'll make another cut here. We'll fill that area with resin too, which gives us a kind of wave effect on the top there, which I quite like. Now at the bottom, we know that there's no cavities under there. We know that there's a cavity here that comes round to here. So realistically, we'll probably need to be put something along here, like that. And then our final cut will be along here. I wonder if I got too far there. No, that's fine. Oh, keep losing the end of my pencil. So now we've got a number of cuts that you can see. We have a river here, we have an inset here, an inset here, and an inset here, which means that all of the areas that aren't X's will be preserved as the original timber, and we're going to stain them up a beautiful vivid colour. But more on that in another episode. For now, that's marked out the areas that I'm going to cut. The next thing to do is get the tools out. Right, we're all clamped up and ready to go, so let's make the first cut. You can see that's quite a nice clean cut there, responding well to the blade, and turning quite nicely with the minimum of burning, which is always good. We're now going to make our second cut to place the channel for where we're going to pour resin. Just took a pause there because the angle of the blade against the base plate deviated away from 90 degrees. Not ideal for cutting, so I've reset that off camera. Guitar body, which eventually. Okay, still out here in the freezing cold. We finished our cuts, and what we've ended up with are some very routine, straight looking lines, some nasty burn marks as well. And we need to make these cuts more graduated, more gentle, more natural looking, and take away the sharp, jagged lines. And to do that, I could sand with an orbital sander, but it would take forever. So instead, I'm going to be using my router, and fitted onto my router, this is a 60 grit flapper disc. Very fast, removes a lot of material very quickly, so we'll need to be careful with that, but we should be able to get the effect that we're looking for, so that I can then take the piece inside and finish it off with the random orbital sander and get it down to 320 grit. So now, let's get things set up and let's get blasting. Okay, so we're all set up in the vise. The back of the guitar is facing towards you. This is the front. So we want to take away these sharp edges along here on the front to make this look more natural. And we also need to get rid of all these scorch marks as well. So we need to make this look more like the bank of a river rather than a cut piece of wood. So we're going to blast away some of those sharp edges, but first we're going to get rid of the scorches. Okay, so that's cleaned up a lot of the scorch marks that we've had in there, just a little bit left there that I'll get rid of now. But now we need to take away this sharp edge that's facing towards the front, make that look a lot more natural. take a look. And now you'll see that these edges are starting to look a lot more natural in their shape and form. They're still quite rough, and there's some areas where we'll need to do some further sanding, but I think that that's a pretty good start. So we've given it a bloody good mutilating with both the jigsaw and now the router, and our body's starting to look like this. These edges here will get turned into more gentle curves, and when I pour the resin, obviously it will sit up against the level of the top, and the resin is going to be translucent as well, and because it's going to be translucent, you'll be able to see through to these edges. So it is important that we get them as straight and as level as we can for making sure that the final product is as good as possible. Now for now, looking at that, I know you're saying, Martyn, what have you done? But remember, this is an early stage in the process. Let's go in and do some sanding. And 90 minutes of sanding later, there's the finished article. You can see all of those sharp lines that we had earlier on. They've all been reduced into beautiful buttery curves now, and the resin will flow and form a level against the top of the guitar here. The top and the sides and the bottom underneath now have all been sanded down to 320 grit, ready for the next stage, which will include the back of the neck, the top and the back of the wood in the guitar. And the next stage is to stain it a beautiful vibrant colour. So my question to you today is, what colour should I stain this guitar? Drop a comment below and let me know. Well, thanks for watching today's episode. I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, then please like and subscribe and click the bell button so you don't miss another episode. Can't believe it's getting dark again. The workshop lights are on bright at the moment, so it's time to put the tools away and leave it until tomorrow when we take on the big job of putting the first coats of stain on. Until then, see ya.